Hello, hello. We are, Amber and I, sorry, we're like in the middle of a conversation because we go off on tangents. Amber and I on the show tonight. Um, so it's March 6th, and this is our extended Team Cup slash team call. So we were just talking about onboarding coaches, and Amber is trying out a new tactic to see if because she just had a challenger sign up, and she signed her up as a discount coach, and she's working on encouraging to get her started doing coaching behaviors before this girl starts coaching. So that's where we were, and then I was like, oh my gosh, we should record. So here we are. And actually I was about to say, I listened to a call. I think it was a wake-up call. And of course, as usual, I have no idea who it was. But it was from maybe, I want to say October of last year, or maybe September of last year. And she talked about how she does that within her challenge groups, where she encourages her challengers to start sharing their journey publicly. She encourages them to share recipes with people, talk a little bit about what they're doing, post in the group. She does a featured challenger every week, and the challenger learns how to schedule posts and chooses topics and writes things up. And it kind of gets everybody used, and she gets everybody started on personal development, and she gets people in the mode of doing, hey, Amy, of doing all these coaching behaviors before she even says, hey, and you'd be an awesome coach. Because then she's truly you would be an awesome coach, because look what you're already doing. You're already doing all of it. Are you there? I can't hear you.
Are you talking to me?
No, I don't know what Amber's doing. Amber, are you muted? Your mouth is moving, but I can't hear you. Maybe.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, the video got wonky when Amy joined, so I was trying to adjust my video, and I think that's when all hell broke loose.
Hold on. Sorry, I'm gonna mute for a second.
So, that's okay. So, yes, I love that idea. Well, since there's three of us on now, we actually have to be cognizant of time. Not Amy, Amber, did you have anything else you wanted to add in before I go off on my not tracking tangent? Because everybody, FYI, I changed my mind. We're doing something other than tracking. I'm gonna come at you with some mindset stuff. So, if what?
No, I said I just saw my phone only had 1%. I was like, plug it in. I would not be good. Did you want me to kind of recap what we were just talking about, since that wasn't on the recording?
Your speaker's a little bit funky. I can't really hear you.
Did it get better?
Maybe a little.
It's a little bit muffled.
Yeah, that's what she was just telling me. I don't know why it's acting like that. I don't know.
Maybe it's because you're using it. Whoa. Okay. Well, maybe let's save that. So if anybody has questions about what Amber was doing, which is introducing a new customer to the coaching, the idea and the activities of coaching before she even says, hey, let's get you actually coaching, reach out to Amber. Let's do that.
Yeah, that works.
Oh, now you sound perfect.
Yeah, you do.
You know why? I shut off that speaker.
Okay. That must be it. I wonder if it's feedback or something and it picks it up.
Well, it's Bluetooth, so I'm one. Oh, you know what? Maybe it is feedback, because it was probably coming through. That makes sense.
Yeah, you sound really good now.
But now I can barely hear you guys. Okay, I'm going to put my phone down. You guys go ahead and continue with the call. I'm going to go get headphones.
Okay, awesome. All right, well, I'm going to mute everybody. Hi, Amy. How are you?
Hey, good. How are you? Sorry I'm
Good.
late.
Oh, that's fine. Okay. So I'm going to mute and mute. Okay. Tonight, I changed my mind. So, FYI, not talking about tracking because I was not excited to talk about it and I wanted to go to bed when I thought about talking about it. So, instead, I want to talk about fear, which is way more exciting. So, today, actually, I don't know if you guys saw, I did a video in our little group page, and I was talking about this book that is like firing me up. Like, okay, the book is called Be Obsessed or Be Average. It's by Grant Cardone. He's a crazy, crazy guy, and he's super intense, but like, he makes you just want to like go and do amazing, crazy things. And it's great. And it's like totally lighting my fire again because like I feel like the last couple of weeks I've like been in a slump. So what I want to talk about tonight is why we all have to embrace fear and what fear does for us and for our business and why it's so important to be in a constant state of feeling like we're scared out of our minds with what we're about to do, because that means that we are growing. It's putting us out of our comfort zone. When we are in our comfort zone, when we get comfortable with what we're doing and we start like feeling good about it and we relax a little bit, that's when we let off the gas in our business. So you'll hear all these stories of coaches who like exploded out of the gate. And it's because like they started coaching, they got pregnant, they realized they didn't ever want to go back to the job that they were working after they, left their job for maternity leave, and they had to make it work. And that was like, it's fear that, it's like not fear of, like being in a dangerous situation, but fear that, it's like the fear that you get in your stomach when you're doing something out of your comfort zone. And that's the kind of fear that we all need to embrace. That's what drives people forward. And you hear these stories about people like, like Steve Jobs and like all these people, and they made these incredible leaps of basically of faith because they were so passionate and so committed to what they were doing that it didn't really, they basically gave up their old limiting beliefs, whatever was holding them back in their life, whatever lifestyle was, what they knew previously, and they dove in 177% and they blew it up. I mean, every story, you never hear stories about people who just creep along incrementally, staying in their comfort zone. Those stories do not exist. Maybe somebody will get lucky once in a while, but they're not people whose names we know. People like presidents or like Abraham Lincoln, who like, he failed 100,000,000 times at everything in his life. And he was a failed lawyer. Everything. And then he was the most amazing president of the United States. All of these stories of people who they just kept going. They just kept pushing. That's what we have to do. So what I want to talk about is how we can use that fear and how we can actually use it to our advantage. So every time we do something new, so like whether it's going live, like doing live on an Instagram story, or going and talking, doing a video about like inviting to a challenge group, or sending out an invitation, or inviting to a coaching opportunity, or going live in our group, or whatever it happens to be, even sending out an invitation to a challenge group, or posting in a challenge group for the first time. Every time we do that for the first time, it's scary, scary, scary stuff. But each time we do that, we're building up our toolkit of things that we are learning to do that we will then be able to grow and improve on. And so every time we do something new, it gives us confidence to do the next thing. So no matter what you do, it's so important to always be doing new things. And when you feel that fear means that you need to push through, and you need to do, like, when you feel fear, it means you're on the right track. If you start to get comfortable, it means you are losing sight of your goals, and you're losing sight of where you want to be, and who you want to be and what you want to accomplish in your life. So it's that fear is like it's like a what do you call it? And I've forgotten. There's a key. Okay, sorry. This is so nerdy. I'm an ecologist by school set. So there's something called a keystone species, which basically it's like the bison. Like if the bison start to like die off in Yellowstone, there's obviously something wrong with the ecology. So what I was going to say, sorry, is if we're not feeling that fear is like that keystone species for the direction of our business and the direction of our life and where we're going to be and the success that we're going to have. So if we're not feeling that fear, that means something is really seriously wrong with our little coaching ecosystem. If we're not pushing the envelope, and if we're not pushing really hard to be learn the new things, try out the new skill sets, talk to new people, try new tactics. So, and that brings me to another really important point, which is failure is not a bad thing at all. Failure means that you're taking action and you're trying all of these new things. It means that you're stepping outside of your comfort zone. You don't know where your foot's going to land all the time. And yeah, you might fall over, but that doesn't mean that you die. Like when you trip and stumble, you don't die. It's like kids. They trip and fall all the time. They get right back up. They move on. You have to learn how to use your body. You have to learn, how to use your mind and how to overcome that fear, because every time you go outside of your comfort zone and every time you fail, you will 100% of the time, you will always learn something from every single time that you failed. And you can use that the next time. And the more you fail, the better you get at it. And the more you fail, the more comfortable you become with failing, which means then that you have to go out and do it more because you have this new skill set of, oh my gosh, well, I can fail. Like, good for me. Now I can go out and now I'm not as concerned, with what people think of me or what might happen to me if I make a mistake. And don't get me wrong, it's a hard place to get to because I'm scared all the time and it's not comfortable, but that's the thing. Like, we're all doing 80-day obsession. Like Autumn talks about when you are uncomfortable, that's where your growth is. When you are feeling that burn during your workout, that's when your muscle fibers are like, you've got those little micro tears in your muscle fibers. And then when they heal, they are stronger, they are bigger, they are buffer, they, burn more energy. That's what being uncomfortable is. And that's what we need to embrace when we are sitting at our computer. Like, am I going to send this? Is this person going to think this of me? What if they think this? Who cares? Like, who cares? They do not you. This is going to sound harsh. You're not as important as you think you are to other people because they are so much more concerned with themselves that they are not concerned with how you feel about you asking them a question. They're going to have an opinion of you, and whether or not it's a good or a bad one question that you ask them is not going to change that opinion of you. They've already formed that opinion. And whatever you say, it's not really going to matter to them because first of all, they've already formed the opinion. And second of all, they're not as critical of you as you are. So high fives. Yes.
No, can I interrupt?
Yeah.
First off, you said kids trip and fall and they don't die, and then Riley ran and tripped and fell right next to me. I'm like, I wish it was on video. No, what I wanted to add, if you just rewind back a little bit to the part about not trying to fail, but that failure is okay, and the continuing to try to better things. One of the things I've realized recently is that even if things are working, you need to continue to try to grow them. And I guess the perfect example that just has come to mind is if you're trying to mop your floor and you have a washcloth that's used for your body, you can mop your floor with that washcloth and it'll work. But that doesn't mean that there's not a better way to do it by having a big old mop. So just because you've tried something and you've had a little bit of success with it does not mean that you can't go out and grow and try to achieve more and try to fine tune it and try to find better ways to do it. The other thing is you don't want to get stagnant. Like just because it worked now, and a lot of the coaches that have been in Beachbody for a while are running into this problem now, that things are changing and evolving, and what used to work is not working anymore. Thank you, other MLMs, for ruining it for everybody. But you don't want your stuff to get stagnant, because then people are going to be like, oh yeah, that's the same crap that Amber was doing last year. And the other thing is people are like more likely to scroll past you if you're doing the same thing all the time. You'll be like, oh, there she is with another one of them Beachbody posts. Skip. Like people don't like it when you get stagnant. That's it. That's all I wanted to say.
Exactly. That's an awesome point. Yeah. Keep growing. Exactly. Amy, did you? Okay. Here, I can unmute you. Go ahead.
It's funny that we both like raised our hand at the same time. So it just looked like high five. Yeah. But I was going to say, it's kind of like anything else where I used to worry so much about what people thought of me. And I mean, sometimes it still occurs to me, especially, it's funny when you dig deep into your past and it's like those people from high school or whatever. And you're like, then you realize like, okay, I'm not, like you said, I'm not that big of a deal. I'm sure, whatever. We're a blip on their radar. And I always think a couple of things. Number one, like it's planting the seed. Even if people open a message and don't reply, it plants the seed. And now they do know, oh, they're a Beachbody coach. That's why she posts so much workout stuff. That might not percolate or become anything for years, but maybe it will. And the other thing to remember is that when people have their perception of you or in response to your message, it's always coming from whatever is going on in their life. And it's so much about them and like what they are experiencing at that moment when they read their message, when they read that message, that it's very little about like what we do, and everything is seen through their glasses and their perception. I used to send messages and then like send them and then obsessively check and see who had opened my message, and it had been 33 seconds and why have they not replied yet? And that was like, that's how I think every Beachbody coach starts off. And now I just go through my list, send, walk away and don't look. And like, it doesn't matter if they open it, if they don't, if they read it, if they don't. And it's just not worth our time obsessing about whether or not they have read it or not, or what they're thinking, because that doesn't matter. It doesn't change anything. So just keep thinking of what are the actions that I can take to help spread this message. And I think reminding us that yes, it is a business, but we're also sharing something that's really life-changing. And if we knew that there was like an amazing sale at Target or something that could change someone's life, we wouldn't be embarrassed or ashamed to share this. And that is really like, we have to believe in these products. And so there shouldn't be any like shame or embarrassment in sharing it. And I literally, just before I got on the call, I posted a Transformation Tuesday of my husband, because we just got his cholesterol results back. And in the past, year since he started doing Beachbody, his cholesterol went from 233 to 133. So that's an invisible result that literally added probably years, could have added years onto his life. And like, that's amazing. You know what I mean? Like, that's the kind of thing, like, there shouldn't be any shame. These products can really change people's life and health, not just, oh, let's get buff and shredded. Like, we can change things. So anyway, it was just about pushing through that fear and reminding ourselves that like, we're not just, I don't know, like, I don't want to like belittle any other businesses, but we're not just selling leggings, which I love. We are actually like in the business of helping people. And it's important to remember that and not be ashamed of doing it. So.
Exactly. And it reminds me of this other quote that don't tell me to go. But oh, sorry, I just muted you and then you muted you. Okay, there we go. Which is, you can't say the wrong thing to the right person but you can't say the right thing to the wrong person. So like if you, it doesn't matter how amazing, exactly what Amy was saying. If we have the perfect solution and we have this amazing opportunity, but if somebody's not ready for it, we can't say the right thing to make them ready. They have to become ready in their own time. And same thing, if somebody's like super on board, like you could mumble and fumble and like misquote things and come back and say, oops, sorry, that's not right. And they'd still be on board. Like, exactly. We can't, it's about the other person's perception of us.
Yeah. The scariest thing, like a lot of times we get no response. One time I got a response from someone, I might have shared this with you, Alana, and the person wrote back very, very respectfully, but she said, please stop messaging me because I feel like you're personally targeting me. I struggle with my weight. And every time I get a message from you, I feel really, what did she say? I feel really self-conscious and whatever. And and then at first I was like devastated. I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't mean to hurt her feelings. Like I'm literally messaging like every friend on my friends list. I'm not targeting her for any specific like physical appearance. And then I had to realize like, okay, this is where she's coming from and that's how she's perceiving my messages. So I replied very friendly and warmly and tried to acknowledge like her feelings, but also let her know that I wasn't trying to insult her in any way. And, also just remind her that if anything did change, like, we're still friends and I'm always here for her. But just remembering that the way someone reads a message just has a lot to do with where they're coming from. And even if they totally reject, we still should respond like with kindness.
Absolutely. And that's one of those scary things that like, you're going to get that sort of stuff. And that also helps you grow. We've probably all had those encounters with people where, it didn't go comfortably but we learned something from it. Like, I've had countless ones of those. I've accidentally like copied and pasted like the wrong thing to the wrong person. And I've been like, oh, sorry, like totally wrong. And then I'm like, oh, sorry, typo on something. I don't know. Like, what are you supposed to say? And then you go back and then you repair it. Like I had that happen to somebody and she's like, I'm not interested in Beachbody. And then like, and just today, actually, I just sent her an invitation for a different thing because I saw a post that, she's, looking to lose the baby weight. And I'm like, hey, like, what I do. So anyway, yeah. So, every time we scare ourselves, there's always an opportunity to learn. We just have to, acknowledge that growth happens as we go through these challenges. And there's so many things that come up in our minds about like all the things that scare the crap out of us and like make us want to just run and hide. And a lot of that is, I can't like pound on personal development enough. Like that is how we overcome this. And this is how we learn to grow through the struggles and challenges and how we learn to like embrace this fear that we feel and be able to use it as fuel to continue to push our businesses forward and to continue to make us want to reach for more and more instead of just becoming comfortable with what we have. Because every time we start to get comfortable, that's when we start to slip backwards. It's hard to imagine that there's going to be, a point where we think like we're exactly where we want to be, but it's going to come at some point. And then we have to remember that we have to set new goals and we have to continue to push because otherwise we're going to lose that momentum and we will actually start to slide backwards. So that's like, please be reading personal development, please. I beg you. But so I did this exercise a while ago. This was like last August. And I need to do it again because I got so much out of it. And it's just one of those things that's on my list that I never have time to get to my list, beyond my list. So what I did was, and this kind of like helped me acknowledge what my fears were and kind of like bring them to light and see how I could use them to like create strength within like me and how I could like use these different fears to like fuel what I was afraid of. And so what I did was I asked myself the question, what would I do if I could not fail? And so I'm going to read you like what I wrote out. So I said, what would I do if I could not fail? And then I said, I would help every single person I'm connected with to become fit, confident, and successful. And then I asked myself, what is stopping me from doing this? And I have 11 things here. So people will tell me no, people won't like me. They'll tell their friends that I'm salesy. Like I listed out all of these fears. Like, they'll think that I don't have anything valuable to share. They'll think that I'm annoying. They think that I'm only in it for the money. My family will think that I'm, only in it for the sales. I'm afraid I'll let people down. I'm afraid to rely on myself for my own income. Like that's a big one for me still. And then, so after I wrote all these down, I flipped each of these. And so rather than saying, why are these scary to me? I actually turned this into, so like number one was people were going to tell me no. And so number one, I flipped it around, and rather than, I turned each one basically into an affirmation. And I said, people are excited, and they're excited about what I'm doing, and they're telling me yes. And I flipped all of these, and it was so much fun, and I got so excited. So like the next one is people won't like me. And so then I said, people feel closer to me because I'm open and honest. And I did this for all of these, and it was so, so exciting. And so then I got down to the last one, which is I'm afraid to rely on myself for income. And so I wrote, I'm empowered to be able to provide for my family and be the breadwinner. And like, when I think about that, like my energy just like shoots up. And so like, this is such a fun activity that I have to do it again. And I really encourage all of you to do it. So again, like ask yourself, what would you do, whether it's with your life, whether it's with your business, or whatever area of your life is like stagnant right now that you need to like burst open. Ask yourself, what would I do if I could not fail? And then ask yourself, what is stopping you from going out and doing that? List out all your fears, and then turn those fears into positive affirmations about what you want to happen instead of what you are afraid will happen. And sorry, I had a late dinner, and it's anyway. Turn those around and like get excited about it. Get excited about the things that scare you, and use that energy and let that shine through when you talk to people, when you make your posts, when you engage in conversation, when you do your workouts, when you do your vision board. Like get all of those energy juices going, because that's what fear can do. Like fear is an emotion, and it's a really, really powerful, strong emotion, and we can use it, and we can use that energy. So that's it. That's what I got. Anybody have anything to add?
Similar related, in some personal development I've done, I did some writing thinking back to times that I've felt like insecure in the past, or even times that I had built like resentments toward other people, or like when I was annoyed. And in a way, I did something similar where I turned it around and I found out like what is at the root of this. And a lot of times the root of it was based in some sort of fear. And oftentimes for me, and everyone's fears, big fears are different, but oftentimes for me, my resentments would build up because deep down, I was afraid of other people's opinions. I resent that person because they did something, and really at the heart of it, it was like, oh, I'm afraid of what they think of me. And when we can sometimes get down to the root of our fears, we can see why we take certain actions, or why we hold ourselves back from certain actions. And sometimes the difference is just making a conscious effort to practice pushing through those fears, like you talked about. And like anything else, like with practice, we just become a little more comfortable every time. And just, I think being like self-aware from personal development of those fears that are holding us back, they just make such a big difference. Yeah. And flipping it around. Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I was going to just kind of like add on to that a little bit. When we do these writing exercises, these are so powerful because if I just had sat down and thought about this, like I wouldn't have remembered that I'd done this. And now I can go back and I have it here in my notebook and I can say, oh man, like this is powerful. And like to go back and look, and it's the same thing about like writing out goals. When you write things down, like you have them there to look at and you can compare them and you can say, you know, you can look back 10 years from now and be like, wow, like I thought that was a really big goal at the time. And now here I am. And I've like achieved what I wanted to achieve with that goal. And then you can just, you know, keep spiraling and building off of all of these things that you do. And it's the same sort of thing. Like I think Amy, I shared that John Maxwell leadership video with you. And so
yes, you did. That was great.
Yeah, it's an awesome one. I'll post it in the comments after this when I post this the replay of this. But it's basically it's how to be a leader of leaders and not a leader of followers. And so it's kind of this checklist that he goes through with everybody, and you know he compares like leaders of followers do this, but leader of leaders have this mindset. And so you can go through and like you can look at what your own mindset is and then like go back in a couple of months or a couple of weeks as you work on these things and see how you're shifting.
Yep. I that was such a good video. Maybe you could post the link when you post this this video. But yeah, like writing exercises, even though it seems tedious, we end up digging a little deeper than I think we would have if we just go through it in our brain. I just jumped up and got like, this is my Post-it that, I mean, it was part of a whole exercise, but like these are some of the actions that I instinctively would take when I was avoiding things that scared me. You know, like I would search for acceptance in unhealthy ways, and I would not be a good listener. I'd be stubborn, or I'd get sucked into negative gossip rather than focusing on the positive. And this is, you know, this was done with another person in my life who helped me do this. But when we like dig in and we see like some of the behaviors that we fall into, because I think being a Beachbody coach is so much more than just the physical part of it, but it is just, and a lot of my challengers are surprised to learn that, but I encourage them to do personal development too. And then they're like, oh my gosh, you know, I just had a challenger quit her job that she hated, and it's because she's taking care of her body and she's been drinking Shakeology and doing like the workouts, and she quit her job to pursue what she really wanted to do. And she's like, and I'm so proud of her. She's like, yep. She's like, I've been doing that and I haven't loved it, and I'm ready to take control of my life. I'm doing it here, and I'm going to do this. And like, I'm like, oh my gosh, like you're making huge changes. Like, it's just super exciting to see these people. Like, I don't know. It's awesome, you know? Hopefully she's okay quitting the job.
Yeah, I love that. I absolutely love that story. That's so amazing because it's true. Like this is what we do. Like this is it, you guys. Like we inspire people and we show them what life can be like when you take care of your body and you take care of your mind and you don't settle for something that you hate. Like I need to quit my job. Sorry. Okay, sorry. Tangent. But like this is, you know, we get to like foster this environment that people can become a part of, and it's amazing. It's so exciting. Yeah. I love it. Thank you for sharing that story. That's so cool.
Yeah, it's just, it's like so empowering and inspiring to see her. I think it's so great. We can be so inspired by our challengers too. And it's such a wonderful relationship to like see her, like not only taking control of like what she's putting into her body, but then the physical exercise that she's doing. And then doing that, you know, she's felt so good that she's like, you know what? This is the beginning. I want to, you know, keep going. And like, it's just so awesome. Yeah. And a lot of you will too, you know, like, you know what I mean? Like when the time is right for you and it makes sense for your family, like,
right.
You're going to do great things. And in the meantime, you're doing the personal development, you're building these amazing relationships to sustain your happiness. And
right. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I have a long-term plan. It's just not right now.
Yeah. Well, there's part of it is being a responsible adult.
Right,
We
exactly.
can
I can't just like run off and quit my job
No.
because I do have a family.
Right, exactly. Like, no, we're not all in the situation where we can just do that, you know.
Right. Dang it. Oh, wait. Okay.
That's right, you're a mom.
All right. Well, our little timer is counting down for me. But I'm really excited. Thank you guys for getting on. Thank you for sharing your stories. Thank you for sharing your insights. And I'm going to post the John Maxwell video. And was there something else? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Okay. I'll post this and then I'll also post that video. And
I really love these team calls.
I do too.
love
I'm
these.
glad we moved them to Tuesday because it was like me and Amber. I love you, Amber.
Well,
It was the me and Alana show. I mean, come on.
and it was tonight for a little bit.
I'm glad you were able to get on.
Yeah, me too, very much.
All right, guys. Well, have a wonderful evening. I'm behind on my lunch packing. So I'm gonna pack lunches.
All right, good night, ladies.
All right, bye, guys.